The meeting will now come to order. Welcome to the January 27, 2026 meeting of the City of Greenville Historic Preservation Commission. My name is Andrew Moorhead, and I'm the chair of this commission. The Historic Preservation Commission is a quasi-judicial body that is governed by North Carolina general statutes and the city's code of ordinances. We conduct evidentiary hearings on requests for certificates of appropriateness for properties located in the College View Historic District and for local landmarks. So let's proceed to the roll call. Please call the roll.
Andrew Moorhead,
Present.
Larry Hall,
Here.
David Denard,
Here.
Sidney McLeod,
Here.
Matthew Cox,
Here.
Rebecca Smith,
Here.
Ashish Kachadani, Susan Daughtry,
Here.
Kamari Carter Green.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions from the agenda that was sent to the commission? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the previous meetings or any corrections or edits before we do so?
I second.
Did you just approve the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry, so I have to approve the agenda first.
It's very hard for us to hear down here, I'm sorry.
So you should.
I'm right here by the mic.
They kind of added this so all the boards kind of had uniformity, but essentially.
Okay.
I have to do a motion to approve the agenda unless you guys make any modifications, in which case vote will come after that, and then you do
Okay.
minutes.
Might add that to the script, just to remind an old person like me. All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda then as distributed?
I motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, signal so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda stands approved. Now let's move to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, signal so by saying aye.
Aye.
Or nay. Motion, that stands, minutes stand approved. We appear not to have any old business, so we'll move to new business. So item number 2 then is the update to the Historic District and Local Landmarks Design Guidelines. And we'll hear for city staff about that project.
All right, good afternoon. We're getting ready to kick that off. I know that we haven't met since, I believe, November, so I'll give you just sort of a quick recap. This is going to be an update to the current design guidelines. Some of the big things we want to do is we want to make sure that our guidelines are in compliance with state law. There's been a couple little tweaks with that, so that's going to be one thing. We also just want to put in more user-friendly text for sort of an end user or the public. We're going to add some more pictures and diagrams and have it be a little bit more informative. And so what we're trying to do right now is we're going to kick this off in February. So within your packet, you'll see there's some brief descriptions of how we're going to do this. But one of the things that we want to do tonight is to go ahead and establish our task force. So on page 15 in your packet, it gives a really good rundown of the task force and the purposes of it. And I'm sorry?
You just don't, I didn't know if we were supposed to have a handheld.
Oh, no. I just meant the electronic packet that you get. That's okay. We'll go through it. It's just a one-pager. It's very easy to understand. Larry, does that mean you weren't paying attention to your packet?
I did, I was just making sure we didn't have a hard copy here to look at.
I kid. And so what we've done is we have established the task force that's going to meet one time a month. Let me see, there's 1 month we left out, I believe it's July. Vacation time always zaps July, that's a very bad time. But what we're looking for tonight specifically is for the actual task force, hopefully you can see this. We have established it that there would be 2 property owners from the district. We also need 1 commission member seat. We already have a contractor that that has come to the commission before, done some work. He's volunteered to serve, so we've got the contractor piece filled. We are working with ECU to get a representative from them. Again, ECU owns, I don't know, collectively about a dozen properties within the district, so we would like for them to have a seat at the table. And then we'll also get a city council liaison that's assigned to the commission. That has not been assigned. I think that's going to happen at the council retreat this weekend. And so theoretically, the commission, depending on the composition, you could seat 3 members tonight if you wanted to. We definitely need a commission member, and then we can have 2 owners. I do have another person who does, who owns properties in the district that we can also sub in as well. But the real the real purpose behind the task force is, again, is you're going to be given new information. You're going to be given the updated information. And so there'll be some decision-making on it. It will come back to the whole commission. And then we will also do public outreach, which is going to happen in February. And we're going to have 2 different meetings. We're going to have a Thursday evening meeting and then a Saturday morning meeting with our consultants. And so that will be a way that if citizens, or really anybody who's interested, wanted to come, we'll have surveys and collect data, get information from them. But we also have a website, which is in your staff report. You can go on that website right now. It's set up. And that will also be where we collect the data and put the data so that anybody can sort of watch as progress is made. So we'll have ways for the public to be informed that even if they can't come to an in-person meeting, there'll still be a way to collect the data. And so I see it here in my notes. The first meeting in February will be in person, and then after that there'll be virtual meetings, approximately an hour, and that would be March, April, May, June, and August. We'll only add September or October if we feel like we need a couple extra meetings to get ourselves straight, but for right now, I would look at February to August and no July. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions, and we can just take it from there. Volunteers?
Sounds good.
I mean, that sounds quite reasonable. So the historic property owners, are you asking us to try to identify some historic property owners that you might approach, or are you suggesting that a historic property owner who's also a member of the commission?
No, we have, in this group, I'll say, in this group, we have 3 seats that could be slotted. And that would be if you're a historic property owner or if you're a commission member. I do have another person that we've reached out to that is a landlord and brings stuff to the commission quite frequently. And I thought that would be a good person to put on the task force from just a different lens, which is someone who works with the commission and has to abide by the rules, but doesn't necessarily live in the district. Haven't gotten a commitment from that person yet. And certainly, if you have others that you think may be interested, I certainly don't mind reaching out at this point. But we do want at least one commission member to represent this group. And you'll have to say it out loud. You can send it to me in email, so no one will know who you volunteered. But if we do have a volunteer from the commission, that's really my big goal tonight, if someone would like to volunteer to be the commission member seat.
What is the duration for this task force?
The task force itself are the meetings once a month, March, April, May, June, and August. Possibly tack on a September or an October meeting. It will be, the task force itself will be a group that works, gives feedback back to the consultant. So there's not a lot of heavy lifting. It's just a way to give your experience and your recommendations on what the design guidelines, or what we're calling now design standards, should look like.
So is it a 1 year task force or just?
It's just done till August or September.
Just done until, okay.
Right, we expect the whole thing to potentially be done, like ready, packaged, and brought to the commission very end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year, just depending on how long it takes to actually get the finished product. But the task force itself, I guess, is like a 6 or 7 time commitment.
And is there going to be, and I'll put myself in the same position as Larry, not having to look at the packet because I did. When is the public supposed to give feedback after the package? Is that going to be, are we going to basically have an open forum at like one of these meetings? Or is there an opportunity for the public to give us feedback on the newly developed guidelines before we vote? So we're doing the survey before, I can remember that, in these 2 meetings. Was there a meeting after the end of the task force, before or after we meet to move it forward?
We can do that. So we can add in a meeting before we bring it back to the commission for your blessing. We can add in another meeting that basically says you can hold, not necessarily a public hearing, because that will be when you do your blessing, but you can certainly hold a preview meeting. And we can, we're going to do this with social media and postcards and things like that. And that would be very easy, again, if we also wanted to catch them on the back end to say, now we're finished. Because the finished product will be put on the website so that it'll be there for public view. But if you want to add an additional meeting to have it at a commission meeting, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. I mean, I would just consider that. I also would consider at that point asking people outside the commission, and do they find it usable? So ideally, this would be like a clickable HTML or PDF there.
Right.
Someone who's not an expert can go, how do I put a new roof on my house in the historic district? Click, and they're right at the information about how they have to match.
Right. And what's going to come out of this is that the way that the design standards will be laid out, a little differently with our current ones. Our current ones gives you very technical information, but if you're a layperson and you just have a house in the district and you want to know what to do about your roof, if you're not a technician, it's very hard to understand what that means. So one of the overriding goals in this is that, here's an example. Let's say you live in a craftsman bungalow.
Hypothetically, yeah.
Yep. You have a craftsman door that was put on in 1965 that's not so great. You would like to put a new door back, but you need to do it with the idea that you live in a craftsman bungalow. If you were to ask that question today, the only real approach we would have would be to find other craftsman bungalow in the district that have original doors and model it after that. In the new design guidelines, it's actually going to break up the different architectural styles because College View has like a dozen different ones, right? Your neighbor can have a totally different architecture than what you do. And so like in the craftsman bungalow example, it would show you the kind of doors, right? Does it have glass pane? Does it just have wood panels? It would also give you paint schemes. Those are typically going to be your earth tones. So if you want to paint your house and it's a craftsman bungalow, it would have some palettes for you to look at, right? And to try to give it an appropriate color. At the end of the day, paint is easy, right? But that does give someone who says, they just painted it white and I would like to have a different color, look at the color palette. So that way it is more intuitive and user-friendly. Some examples that we were given, if you want to look, the consultant we hired did Chapel Hill and did Edenton's design guidelines, and they've done those recently. And I think that would be a very good example if you wanted to look online. And of course, both of those places are really power users with historic districts. And I think that doing that kind of work, it would be a really good tee-off for what we're trying to do. And so that's, if you wanted to look those up, those would give you some idea. They've been crafted to the community, but it does give you some ideas of what we can expect in the updated version.
I like the approach. I will look those up. Are you looking for someone tonight, or should we think on this? and-
Well, the first meeting's February.
Okay,
and-
so I guess you are looking for someone
And I can
right
t-
soon.
Hold on one sec. I'll tell you the date. I'm sorry, because I do have it. Give me 1 second. I thought I had that right in front of me. I think it's going to be the second Wednesday. I'll double check. But I will tell you, the meetings will be on a Wednesday, and they're going to fall at the same time, which I believe is 6 o'clock. And again, other than the first one, they'll be virtual, so you don't have to rush to City Hall to come to the meeting. Give me 1 second, I'll give you that day. February 11th. And that is going to be the second Wednesday. And so all the other meetings will be the same time, second Wednesday. And I'll go ahead and add this, just for,
And wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
well, equitable share of labor, which is a little bit later in the agenda. I'm also going to ask for some volunteers for the design review committee as well. We have 2 members. It would be really good for us to have 2 more members. Also, just so you know, if when we get to the elections, if you are elected chair, which Andrew cannot serve as chair, you are automatically on the design review committee. So that way we can kind of have a good division of labor. And if you're going to volunteer for the task force, then maybe you don't want to do the design review committee again, so that you don't have 1 or 2 people doing the heavy lifting. So that's just something to think about as well.
Thank you. So I would be willing to volunteer if David's not eager to do so. I will just mention that I am giving a review session for my organic chemistry class 2 days before the first exam on February 11th.
Oh, bless. We can't keep you from that.
So that would be a conflict that I
Okay.
would have to figure out, or we'd have to figure out. But if David volunteers, then I don't have to worry about that, or nor do my students, who love to hear me talk about organic chemistry for hours.
I think I would rather do task force.
So. Wow, people are just jumping forward.
Okay. That's because we're going to pick them up on the design review committee. That's what I'm feeling.
All right, I'll try to figure out what to do about my organic review session. They know it all. Yeah, absolutely. They're ready, eager. Okay.
And with that, are there any other questions before we move on? Does anyone want to serve as a property owner in the historic district as opposed to representing the commission? Because if not, then I'm going to shake some trees in the district or with our local landmark property owners, because they're a property owner as well. And so we've got to fill 2 seats. So if anyone would like to do that, then you have an opportunity. Okay.
All right.
I will say, if you know Bob Dietrich's
Yeah.
number, he owns 7 properties there. He's actually going to be selling them probably in the next 2 years.
Okay.
But he wants homeowners in them, and he does work hard to keep those properties looking good and everything else. So he may be a good one on design committee and how does it make it easier? And he does a lot of work on those properties.
Okay. And I'll reach out to him, and if anybody else has some any other leads, you can always just email it to them. But we do need to get this in place, again, prior to the first task force meeting. And with that, I'm going to sit down unless there's any other questions. Okay.
All right. Seeing none.
Now, we got elections. As you've heard, Mr. Chair, you are ineligible. You can still conduct the election, I think. You should have a script in front of you. So
I
that
do
should
have a
be-
script here in front of me.
Should have the guidance you need. Not aware of really any other prohibitions, just a reminder, the chair kind of serves as the judge in many respects for these kind of hearings. You kind of make sure there's order and you can get rid of anybody disruptive. You would make rulings. Vice chair serves in that capacity in the absence of the chair. All right. You guys got any questions as far as the election procedure, you let me know, but it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you very much, 40 under 40 award recipient Dixon.
I think that that's the vote, but
Congratulations. The election for the office of chair will proceed as follows. I will call for nominations. Nominations will be made. No second is required for that nomination. I will repeat the nomination and ask for further nominations. After no more nominations are forthcoming, I will declare the nominations are closed, which does imply that there has to be at least one. After nominations are closed, the board will proceed to a vote starting with the first nominee. When there is more than one nominee, the board votes in the order in which nominees are nominated. As soon as one of the nominees receives a majority vote, I will declare him or her elected, and no votes will be taken on the remaining nominees for that office. So, nominations are now in order for the office of chair.
and you may nominate yourself. Yes.
What's that?
You can nominate yourself.
I thought I was ineligible to serve.
Not you. I mean, members.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, man, I had a fundamental misunderstanding then. So yes, please, self-nominations are welcome. Look, I'm a professor. I can sit here until someone answers this question. So,
I'm holding out for that design committee, so.
but you'll automatically be a member if you're chair.
Nope.
Just, it's a bonus.
You get a script, you don't have to wing it.
It's really not
Anybody
that
wants to be
bad.
chair.
And I promise to keep anybody who's chair out of trouble.
Yeah, it's really not that bad.
It's really not.
How bad is it?
Well, I may have bungled it over the last year, but it hasn't been too bad.
So you want another term?
I can't.
Oh, you
I cannot serve as
He's
an
had
elected.
it 2 terms in a row.
Have I had it 2 terms in a row?
Didn't you? I thought last year we kept you and I
Oh,
stayed.
maybe, I don't remember. It all just fades together. Just remember, this is being televised, so people are just thoroughly enjoying this.
I could do it.
Oh, self-nomination. Thank you,
Susan?
Susan. Anyone else eager to jump in now?
No.
All right, seeing none, I declare the nominations closed, and we will all vote yea or nay on our first nominee, Susan. So, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. Nominations are now in order for the office of vice chair, which is a very important position in the absence of the chair. So, but does not include automatic placement on the DRC, right?
It does not.
Okay.
And there's no term requirements for vice chair.
Can be reappointed.
Hey,
We have a
it's
lot of new
good
members,
job.
in all fairness.
The whole reason I won't volunteer for anything is because my house is going on the market in the spring. So I won't be here for the year. So I can't, but the vice chair is the design committee's an awesome thing.
Yeah, that's
If you really
fun.
want to be part of it, that's probably the best thing about being on this committee, but yeah.
All right. Matt, thank you. Any other people eager to jump forward? Okay, seeing none, I will close the nominations, and we will all vote on Matt. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Matt.
Yay,
And my job here is done. So, we now move to the public comment period where the throngs of people here waiting to comment might not have materialized unless there's some people who signed up. Then I'm not going to read all that verbiage about how we do the public comment period,
Nailed it. I support it.
saving us a little bit of time, and we'll move on to committee reports.
I will say though, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, this is actually kind of a good opportunity to address something. When I first became in the city attorney's office and started representing HPC, we kind of switched up procedurally how we do prohibition against conflict of interest and ex parte as far as like announcements go. You may notice it's not in your packet this evening. I spoke with LaToya about it. The way we've done that historically is I let you guys review it and then make the announcement. That way I'm not sitting up here and reading like a 2-minute statement about it. You guys want to continue doing it that way? Okay. Well, we've been kind of going through a reassessment with this, and BOA, they do like a solid 5-minute announcement of all the different rules and regulations. So I think you guys probably always prefer to just review it and not have me read it, but I'm gonna have Latoya start including those in the packets again, though, just so they're
Okay.
there, and we'll do the announcement kind of at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing what is appropriate, but no need to waste time. All right, moving now to committee reports. I guess technically, did the DRC actually meet? No, we just consulted, so we've had no meetings then.
That's correct. So we'll tell you, so we do have a COA that was just turned in related to that. We had, was it in November, I guess? We met with a property owner, it was a while back, I just remember it was cold and dark.
It was cold and dark, yeah. The
And
parking situation was weird.
the parking situation was certainly strange. And we met with a property owner who was considering demolishing his garage and wanted basically to kind of test the waters to see, you know, how it would go. So we had an unofficial meeting where we just met out on site. And this person has now filed a COA with us, so we have an official COA. They would like to demolish the garage. They have submitted an engineer's report along with it. So now we kind of got two things. So we do need to get, so you will automatically be on design review committee because you're the chair. And then I assume, Larry, will you continue to serve as long as you're here on design review?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then Andrew, do you want to bow out since you're doing task force? That's up to you.
I am happy to continue or bow out if we have other two people who are interested. So sort of, I do agree we should have 4 so we can always get a
Yes.
quorum. But if there's 2 other people who would like to do it, I am happy to step back and let other people
Yeah,
get
no.
engaged.
I'll gladly bow out too, because my time could be real short. I don't want you to wait it out and then find out you don't have someone who wanted to be there. I mean,
So my only,
you
Be
just
nice
want
to-
someone to
be nice
have
to
the
have some
background.
experience.
Yeah, that's.
yes, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to get some of the commission members that have not had that interface and having more of a very, sometimes technical conversation to go ahead and get you primed for that. And it's always good to be with, and this is not a bad thing, some of the people that's had some seniority to kind of see how it rolls and also learn from them. And so certainly, I don't want you to feel like I'm making you, but certainly having Larry and Andrew to give those words of wisdom would be a plus. And eventually, you know, like Larry said, he's going to be rounding off, but I would hate to lose the opportunity for some of you other folks to be able to sit in on these meetings and kind of get a feel. Because we whenever a COA comes up, one of the requirements is that the design review committee will meet with the applicant, early on, and to give them, it may be easy and you recommend approval. Sometimes it's not always easy. You have to recommend denial, or you say, listen, we would feel a lot better if you could tweak this a little bit. This one is certainly going to be interesting. We don't have a lot of requests for demolition. This person has tried to provide some information to give credence, I guess, for what he would like to do. I will go ahead and say this. I don't want you to think I'm jumping ahead, but I do want to say, when you have a COA for demolition, the commission has the ability, under state law, to delay the demolition up to 365 days. There's a caveat with that, which means you don't get to sit back in your chair and watch time tick away. So there has to be some proactiveness with the commission if you're going to impose that, to either help save it, find someone else who would take on the challenge. So what I'm saying is you shouldn't impose that on someone and then in some way not try to help the situation. So, you know, right now we technically, I'll say have 2 if Andrew wants to step back, although you have a lot of, you live in the district, you do a lot of things in your house, so I know you have a lot of knowledge. And maybe we add in one and then we can fold in a second one as some of the others, like Larry, who's gonna, who's gonna eventually drop off the commission.
Well, and so am I a year from now when
that's
I'm
correct.
ineligible to serve on the commission.
That's correct.
So it would be good to have multiple people come in and get a year, or at least 6 months, or however long it takes Larry to sell his house. So, again, I'm,
2 days, I'm going for 2 days.
so anyway, yeah, I'm flexible either way.
Okay. And the other kind of conundrum, though, is that we can't have all of you sitting in a room as the design review committee, because once we hit quorum, then we have a meeting. So it's kind of weird that we have to have that sort of that balance, right, of having a teaching moment, but it not being a meeting itself. But we can get through that. Since most of you work, the DRC meetings are typically after work, 5, 6 o'clock, so you don't have to take off from work.
On site.
And once the COA comes in, we already start fishing for, is there a date and time? Typically, we just meet in the municipal building, which is right across the street. We don't typically meet on site unless it's something that really you need to see in person, and we do those as well.
So,
Do you,
Well-
are you still requesting a volunteer for that?
I'd say who's interested would be the first question. How
I'd
many
be
people?
interested in that.
Okay, there's
Okay.
2.
Yeah. I'll,
So, could I perhaps get one of you, either one of you, to give me your intentions and put you on pause? Because if I get you all in a room, we're having a meeting, and we don't want to do that. But we can rotate you in as well if that works. It does help that if you're down to 3 people, and then you got 2 people who can't make it, you can't have a committee meeting if only one person shows up. So I don't mind putting you in a rotation that once we get 4, we're good. And we can work that out so that, again, you're picking up that knowledge and the education piece as some of the other folks are still in the mix.
I would say I would probably keep him on the board and take me off, because again, I'm like finishing the house in the mountains too, so I would
Okay.
hate to not be available when it is.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like 3 months away from that house being done and this one hopefully selling. That's, the reality is I hope it's sold by 1 June. If anybody knows anybody wanting a historical home,
So,
Forward to the neighborhood association.
I'm gonna, yeah.
So, what do you want to do? Because with Larry and Andrew, that gives the 3 of you the opportunity to serve right now, if you're okay with that.
That sounds good. Sure.
Is that okay? All right, fantastic. So I'll add y'all to the DRC then. And then the other is the selection committee. We won't worry about the publicity committee at this point, but with the rest of you, because I can't remember, we had somebody who wanted to do the selection committee. Anybody, can I count on the remaining ones of you to do that, except for you 2? That would be Matthew, Kamari. Does that leave anyone else? The selection committee, because I think we're still a member short. Are we still a member?
We're short a member of the commission today. I don't
Yeah.
remember who's absent.
That's
It
right,
was a
that's
new-
right.
new
So we
member.
can have other people. But the selection committee is the one that when someone wants to have their property designated, that's the committee who meets with them that would say, oh, your property is 50 years old and it's deserving, and you don't have to have the technical feel, but we always like to give someone sort of a trial run before they get way long into it and it may not be historic.
Yeah.
So, Kamari and Matthew, okay, all right, and then as we get other members, we'll slot them in. Any questions? We'll close out this item.
Seems reasonable. While we're sort of in this, can I just mention that you kind of skirted around the fact that the Velocity Committee doesn't meet very often and hasn't been particularly active. Is our next opportunity to kind of ask ourselves how we might review some, is that the workshop that we are going to have later on?
Did you say publicity? I
Like the
just wanted to make
publicity
sure.
committee, yeah. Because we might want to revisit this and we might want to construct it. I like the idea, frankly, of having alternates, designated alternates. So, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that broadens the representation, but it also means automatically you know who to call. So how can we kind of redo this structure, I guess is what I'm asking. Is there a process for that?
I think you can have that discussion at the workshop, and then you can always amend the bylaws that would formalize.
Let's say it's a
essentially the
bylaw
procedure.
change, right?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
And the other piece that this dovetails nicely with is that we have a PIO's office that if you wanted to, as a group, put information out. This used to be a committee that many moons ago would like send a press release to the newspaper, and
Yeah.
nobody does that anymore.
Well, they ran the little every other year awards.
That's
thing,
right,
and
that's right.
so that-
And, you know, we have a PIO's office who can throw a flyer together and put it on the socials, and it reaches far more people than something in the newspaper. And plus, you still have to work as a group. And so I think that would be, again, it's kind of hard to get people to serve, but it gives you more people to work from when you're just dividing it up between two different committees.
I would also say, though, the city overall is doing their board and commissions policy, and they're kind of adjusting it as we speak to a large degree. We don't really know how the new council is going to essentially decide
Right.
stuff, but I know there's a significant effort for everything to be kind of uniform to a degree. So I would wait to kind of see how that shakes out. I know they're going to have some policy in regards to alternates and how they want that kind of done. But I agree. I think it's a good idea to kind of switch up y'all's methodology, and I think you can do that through just a basic amendment of the bylaws. So.
And I don't remember how many new members we have, but
Question?
it's worth saying, sorry, David, I'll get back to, that the reason that we can't have more than 4 people meet is that if it's an official meeting, we then have to have the restrictions about it has to be advertised and it has to be, so that's why we have to construct our committee so that no more than 4 of us show up at any given meeting. So I didn't know if everyone knew that, but I wanted, are you going to correct me again?
No, I'm just saying, to kind of just elaborate a little, it is right, that triggers open meeting law, that triggers kind of a bunch of statutory regulations and stuff, so that's why when Shantae's speaking, or Mr. Chair is speaking about kind of the number, you're always trying to be under that quorum requirement, because technically speaking, you can't take any lawful action without the quorum, but without it, it just starts kind of triggering and creating a bunch of issues, so everybody's kind of dead on how you do it, but that's why it's set up that way.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, David, you had questions?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Shante, I was on that committee, but I didn't have any cohorts, so we didn't meet. I mean, it was a committee of one.
That's right, it was a committee of one, and that's no fun. And also, the other way that this dovetails is if you remember, maybe last summer, you did the new board and commission members' responsibilities. One of the things that was included in there is boards and commissions sending out any communications and kind of being autonomous. And in that, in those rules and regulations, essentially it was saying you could not do that. So to me, that further kind of complements that you don't really need a publicity committee, because at the end of the day, the commission should speak as one voice and not have just a few kind of doing things a little on the side. So to me, this makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, so.
All right, I'll definitely sit down now.
Right, thank you. So moving on then to the approved COA and minor work COA staff update, please.
So we've only had one minor work that's been approved literally since October. Little unusual, but it's on 300 South Jarvis Street, and they're going to replace shingles and do some maintenance work. And then these are the photos of the COAs and minor works that have been finished and have been inspected by staff. So we give you a copy of these in your packet, but I'll run through these really quickly. This is on 209 South Library Street. You can see how long ago we took it because there's pumpkins on the front porch. But they scraped the paint, replaced some damaged wood, they put those back in kind, and then they repainted the house in the same color. This one is 309 Southeastern Street. They just repaired some wood with in-kind materials and painted it the same color. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Shantae? All right, seeing none, are there any announcements? Oh,
Yes, one announcement, but you go right ahead if anybody else has anything
anyone else
to
have an
say.
announcement? No? All right.
Okay, one announcement, you probably have seen some emails from Bella tonight, or Isabella Sardina. She's here with us tonight. She was just waiting in the wings. I didn't want to just throw her in. She's basically taken Blake's place, but obviously I'll still be here and coming to the meetings. But hopefully by next meeting, she'll kind of be taking it over. And, we'll get her primed and ready to go. She's very smart. She's very eager to learn. So it is a plus all the way through.
All right, well, welcome. All right, if there's no further business, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion. Second.
How's that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.